not get out on the internet. Because if you just go to one of these large language models and put in a bunch of stuff, somebody knows what they're doing can go find out whatever you put in there. The ethics, because this is a big part of this, is about ethics. Google just released a paper, 142-page paper yesterday, talking about the unrecognized risks of AI, and they're putting together a framework for how they're going to develop it and keep us out of any kind of fundamental issues. They just put it out, which really separates them from OpenAI and a lot of the other folks that are doing these things. But the ethics in business, since the people that own the businesses feel like they're ethical humans, they're not terribly concerned with the ethics or with preserving jobs. You got to remember, capitalism is about creating destruction. Where the capital goes, where you get the best return. And the big jobs, McKinsey's got this group that they just set up called Quantum Black. They just put out, every 90 days, they put out a report on business usage of AI. There's still a lot of confusion about what's going to happen to people and the rest of it, but that's a secondary concern. The ethical view is that, and it's just stereotype, I'm not saying it's right, but it's commonly held, people feel they're ethical. If I end up, and by the way, most of the work that's going to happen, if you go back to what Dr. Walton said, think about the verbal communications, the artisan processes between a company and its downstream customers and its upstream suppliers. And integrating all of that, that's where 75%, according to McKinsey, that's where 75% of this benefit is going to come from. And you can take a lot of these things, and as you take the friction out, instead of taking 5 people to do something, it takes 1. The ethical approach is I'll take the 4 people who lose their jobs and I'll pay them well and treat them with respect and dignity, and then go on and do something else. As a matter of fact, ChatGPT just announced well, actually it wasn't ChatGPT, sorry, it was Claude for Education. They developed a new one to teach students how to do critical thinking and take the content of normal classes that are taught by professors and teachers, and they've actually integrated with Canva, which is a learning model in terms of how do we track all this. These things are moving really fast, and I'm not, in my view, as a commercial person, I don't think there's much of anything we can do to stop it at this point. And we're just going to watch. It's going to be a spectator sport at some point.
And Mr. March, you hit on something that I want to talk about a bit further here with the panel, and that, of course, is the profitability of AI and how AI can be leveraged. So let's go ahead and throw that question out to the panel. How can businesses use artificial intelligence to increase shareholder value? Who wants to take first crack at that?
So I think of, kind of going back to the basics when I think about this question, right? When you're creating value for your clients, for your team, that's